Hi everyone, I'm Juna. Welcome back to my art style challenge. If you're new here, this is a series where I draw my Aussie in a different art style every day. The main reason I start this challenge is because I realized that I often draw using the same style over and over again. There's nothing wrong with that, but I want to push myself a little further. I want to try things that I'm not comfortable with, and maybe learn new techniques along the way. Sometimes I end up liking the style, sometimes I don't. But either way, it's fun learning experience. For today's challenge, I decided to try jelly art style. I've seen this style quite a lot online, especially on TikTok. Every time I came across it, I always thought it looked really cute. The colors are usually soft, the characters have huge eyes, the highlights are everywhere. And everything looks shiny and squishy almost like jelly. So naturally I got curious. I want to see if I could recreate that look with my own Aussie. Before I start drawing, I spent some time looking for reference. And honestly, I noticed that there isn't just one version of jelly style. Different artists interpret it in different ways. Some make it very colorful, some focus heavily on highlights, and some make the eyes extremely large. Because of that, I wasn't entirely sure which version I want to follow. In the end, I just picked the element that stood out to me the most. So this is the reference I used. Now, let's start to speed paint. And while you're watching, I'll talk about my experience drawing with this style. The first thing I worked on was the sketch, and surprisingly, I already started struggling here. The eyes in jelly style are much larger than what I usually draw. At first, I kept making them smaller without realizing it. I think my brain was automatically trying to return to my normal style. So I had to keep adjusting them, making them bigger and even bigger. It felt a little strange, but that's exactly why I want to do this challenge. Trying things that feel unfamiliar is part of the fun. When it came to colors, I decided to use pastel tones. Jelly style doesn't always use pastel colors, but I personally love soft color palettes. I feel like they help create a cute and dreamy atmosphere. So I thought they would fit this style really well. While coloring, I tried to avoid making the colors too saturated. I want everything to feel soft, light, and slightly sweet, almost like candy. The blush was probably one of the hardest parts for me. It sounds simple, but it actually took me quite a while. I want the blush to be visible because it's an important part of the style. But I didn't want it to become the first thing people notice. If I made it too strong, it looked weird. If I made it too light, it almost disappeared. So I spent a lot of time adjusting it, adding little, removing a little, and repeating that process over and over. The lips were another challenge. I almost never draw lips like this. Most of the time, I draw smaller and simpler mode. But jelly style often use larger lips, so I tried to follow that. Honestly, I wasn't completely confident while drawing them. Even though I'm still not sure if I like them. Maybe they'll grow on me later, or maybe they're just not my thing. Who knows? One thing I noticed while studying jelly style is the amount of highlights people use. Seriously, there are highlights everywhere. On the eyes, on the cheeks, on the nose, and on the lips. Sometimes even on random parts of the face. And somehow it all works together. I really want to capture that look, but honestly, I had no idea where some of those highlights were supposed to go. So I play it safe, and I add a few highlights here and there. But definitely not as many as most jelly style artists use. Maybe that's something I can improve if I ever try this style again. Next came the hair, and this part was surprisingly confusing. My Aussie has blonde hair, but most of the reference I found had darker hair colors. Because of that, I wasn't really sure how to render it. I spent quite a while looking at different examples, trying to understand how other artists handle highlights and shading, but eventually I stopped overthinking and decided to make the hair look soft and fluffy instead. I think it fits the overall vibe pretty well. One of my favorite parts was actually rendering the nose. I don't know why, but it was surprisingly satisfying. There was just something really fun about experimenting with soft shading and highlights. It wasn't even the most important part of the drawing, but for some reason, it became one of my favorite details. As the drawing got closer to being finished, I started feeling a lot better about it. At the beginning, I honestly thought it wasn't going to work. There were so many moments where I looked at the canvas and thought, yeah, this doesn't look right. But after adding these final details, everything started coming together. And that's one of my favorite feelings when drawing, when a piece suddenly goes from looking unfinished to actually looking complete. And then something funny happened. When I look at the final result, it kind of reminds me of AI-generated art. I don't really know why. Maybe it's because of the soft colors, maybe it's because of the shiny highlights, or maybe it's because the style itself has the polished look. Whatever the reason is, that was honestly my first thought. Overall, I had a lot of fun with this challenge. I learned a lot, and I got to experiment with things I normally wouldn't draw. Do I think I completely mastered jelly style? Definitely not even close. But I do think I managed to capture some of its characteristics, and that's already a win for me. Anyway, the drawing is finally finished. What do you think, guys? Does it actually look like jelly style? And what art style should I try next? If you have any tips, suggestions, or ideas, feel free to leave them in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!